Diode.
Hello, good afternoon to you. Compliment of the season and welcome. It's another edition of Hard Facts, originally live from your number one talk news and sports radio station. We are 92.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. Even though it is very much nearing the end of the year, the end of December, and of course by extension, the end of the year 2022. It is still not the last edition of Hard Facts for the year. No. That comes up tomorrow, Friday, December 30. As today is only 29. Saturday is the 31st, the last day of the year. But the show comes away Mondays through Fridays. So we have the last and final edition of the show, Hard Facts, for the year 2022, tomorrow. Make it a date and sure to join in. However, even if you're unable to listen via radio, in case you're traveling or something, you might be in a far away place. With Shrek and Princess Fiona and co. You could listen live. We're live on Facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. We're live on Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. You can download our mobile application as well, mobile app as it's called, and listen live also. You can also listen via our website, www.nigeriainfo.fm. Click the listen live link and switch to Port Harcourt, and you can listen live from anywhere you are, literally on the planet. And even in space these days, I hear they've got internet in space as well, so you've got no excuse. Maybe even if you go through a wormhole and end up in another universe, like the MCU, for example, you could still listen, I guess. I mean, Tony Stark would probably have internet in that other universe that can stream something from our universe. It's very likely, very likely. So welcome again. I hope it's been a good enough 2022 for you. You know, good enough. Maybe not the best of years, but I hope it's been good enough, and I hope that you are hopeful and optimistic of what next year has got to offer. And oh my goodness gracious, next year does have enormous potentials indeed. But guess what? Potentials in and of themselves can amount to absolutely nothing. You have to make use of potentials. You have to employ potentials. You have to deploy potentials for it to mean anything, for it to result in something great, you know. And speaking of potentials, we've got the general elections next year. Yep, we've got them next year, February and March, and that offers incredible potentials to have sensible, reasonable, responsive and responsible human beings who know what they're doing, who understand the purpose of being in government is not to intimidate people, is not to be in bulletproof SUVs with Mopo and DSS and then shout at other people, insult other people and pilfer state resources, who understand that that's not the reason you are elected to office, but the reason is to serve and as much as possible strive and aspire to helping to building people's capacity so they can live out their own aspirations in life. That's primarily, to a great degree, what it's all about. Now that's the potential, but until you go to the ballots, to the polling units, February and March next year, and cast your vote for these sensible persons, whoever you believe they are, those potentials remain simply that, potentials. And if the potentials are not harnessed, you'll keep on suffering. You will suffer. You will suffer incredibly. The price of rice will go up. Insecurity might get worse. Education may become completely unaffordable. And where you can afford to send your children to, God help them if there's even a floor for them to sit on, you know. And, you will suffer, basically. Not funny at all. Not funny. Anyway, so welcome again. From now to 7, discussions continue, and thanks for staying tuned. Join the conversation via Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. The number to call at the appropriate time. Don't know if this is active right now, but it's 0. Is this active right now? Ashley, can you let me know which numbers are active right now, please? Is the smart number active? Do please let me know, Ashley. I'll give out the number to call in a moment. Let's see. So, a quick preview of what to expect on today's edition of the show. Let's see. Before that, I got a message via WhatsApp saying that the bad thing is my village has zero network. Too bad for me when I travel. That's bad. That's really bad. Anyways, well, you'll return eventually. All right, you'll return. Just make the most of the time with the village people, and that's a good thing. Apparently, your village people are not as bad as some people try to make their village people out to be. So have a great time with them village folks, and come back hale and hearty, and we keep the conversation going. So, preview of today's show, what to expect. Let's take a quick look at that. I have side comments coming up shortly, random stories and random thoughts that caught my attention as far as those stories are concerned. I've got a rant coming up right after that, expressing my thoughts on some issue, and I'd very much like to get your take and mine all the way till 4 p.m. For the side comments, they will not be discussed now until much later on. I hope you remember that rule. And much later on is the 6 p.m. after the 6 p.m. major news during a sub-segment known as the open season segment. All right. So I'll take your thoughts on my rant to 4 before we go business news coming up. And after that, are G5 governors not loyal party men? Are they loyal party men? You know, how politicians remind us that the party is supreme. Apparently, the party is supreme when the party favors them, or when the decision has been taken is in their favor, or is in their interest, or expounds their own personal ambitions. The party is supreme then. When the party takes a decision or goes in a direction that does not favor them, then the party does not know anything. Supposedly, the party is not supreme then. PDP considers expulsion of G5 governors, dissolution of party structures in their states. Details in this day. But here's a bit. The PDP is considering expelling members of the G5 governors made up of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Samuel Ortom of Benue State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State, and Okezie Ikpeazu of Abia State, if they go ahead and announce their support for any presidential candidate other than Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. By the way, Atiku is the PDP presidential candidate. Now, slight digression. What have the actions of this guy? I don't know exactly what other sign, bright star is in the sky. I don't know. Maybe they're looking for that. Maybe they're looking for that. Or maybe they're looking for an angel to appear like it appeared to the three wise men. I think after a star, they saw an angel as well, or something like that. You know, so maybe they're looking for a sign like that before they know what's going on. Back to the story. A reliable source who is a member of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, who disclosed this to this day, said another measure being considered by the leadership of the main opposition party was the dissolution of the party structures in the respective states of the G5 governors, who are also referred to as the Integrity Group, and establish caretaker committees to run the affairs of the party in the 5 states. According to the source, taking such action would also affect the political ambition of Makinde, who is seeking re-election as governor, as well as Okezie, Ortom and Ikpeazu, who are all contesting for the senatorial seats in their respective states. Dissolving any party structure will also affect the loyalists who are contesting for different positions under the PDP in Abia, Rivers, Oyo, Benue and Enugu. Aha! Yeah. It appears the battle line is almost drawn. But maybe it is actually drawn. But then again, they're still waiting for that sign in the skies before they realize it is drawn, possibly. And as we'll look at this in the 4 o'clock hour, I'll be asking you, do the actions of the G5 governors constitute anti-party activities? Will the party be right to expel them, the PDP that is? What other sanctions do you think the party could take? We'll look at this in the 4 o'clock hour. Taking us to 5, the news updates up at 5, and after that, let's see. When will the old notes finally rest in peace? When is that going to happen? Old notes extend deadline to June. Senate tells CBN details in the Punch newspaper, but a quick look at some parts of it. Let's see. Senate has urged the CBN to urgently extend the withdrawal of old currency notes from circulation from January 31 to June 30. Senate resolution was sequel to a point of order raised by Senator Mohammed Ndume during plenary on Wednesday. So they're calling for an extension. We'll look at the stories on date in the 5 o'clock hour. But I'm asking you, do we need an extension? Should the CBN extend the deadline for phasing out of old notes? Remember one of the concerns raised as well, vote buying in the coming elections. If this extension is granted, How do you think it would affect the concerns of vote buying in the general elections? And how will the current deadline affect Nigerians, by the way? Would it be such a terrible sin? I mean, how much do you have in cash, for example? Really? Seriously? How much do you have? Is it going to be a big... I mean, how much do I have in cash? Really? Anyways, we'll look at that in the 5 o'clock hour after the updates. Headlines 5:30, major news at 6 p.m. A recap, review of all of these matters afterwards during the open season segment, all the way till about 7 when the show wraps up. So there you have it, a preview of today's show. Any changes that apply, you will know about it. Just stick around. I've got a commercial break coming up now. When I return, more side comments and then today's rounds. Do please stay tuned. Hard Facts returns in a bit. Dial. Conversation continues on the edition before the final edition of the show for the year. And thank you for listening. Thank you for always being there throughout the year 2022. It's been an interesting year indeed for everyone. And I hope that next year offers better things for you, for all Nigerians, and for all mankind as well. Hopefully we have no pandemics next year. Hopefully. And hopefully we have good elections in Nigeria as well. Moving on with today's side comment, random stories and random thoughts that caught my attention earlier on. Via WhatsApp, someone, Christian, says, I traveled. I'm using the app to listen to Nigeria info, but it seems the app is seconds behind in transmission. That's some Christian, how do you know that if you've traveled already? But it does make sense. It's like it's like using one of them cable TV apps, which I use as well. The mobile app for a cable TV company. If you're watching it on TV and using the mobile app, you might discover that the version on TV is some seconds faster than what you're watching. So when you relay something, and you re-relay or you retransmit over several sources or platforms or multiple platforms, you might experience a slight delay. So it's a perfectly normal thing. Nothing unusual about that. All right, so be like Christian, download our mobile app and listen live wherever you are. Now, to some other side comments. Environmentalist Fine-Face Doom Namine has called on the government to legalize artisanal oil refining to ensure a friendly environment. Doom Namine also urged the state government to provide an alternative source of livelihood for the youth to ensure a permanent solution to import haircuts in its environs. Doom Namine said this in an interview with our correspondent while reacting to the disappearance of suits import haircuts. Let's take a listen to Doom Namine and what he had to say on this quest, this legalizing quest, which of course it's not feasible in my estimation. It's not going to work. It's not advisable. It's not even wise at all. But let's take a quick listen to what he had to say. Just a moment. Do I have that here? Okay. I seem to not have that sound. Oh, okay. It is here, actually. Just a moment. Here we go.
Yeah, what the government can do to eradicate out of artisanal crude oil refining and suit completely in Port Harcourt and its environs is to provide alternative livelihood opportunities for youth who are involved in this. The governor started the war of using stick to chase these boys. There was not a carrot perspective that gives the youth an alternative livelihood opportunities. So what the activities did was only to displace them. And just like when you displace a gathering of people, over time they will have to gather back and commence the activity. So I'm calling on the Rivers State government to take steps to ensuring that it will the federal government to ensure that the youth of Rivers State have the modular refinery promised by the federal government.
Okay, first things first, yes, government has to create a friendly environment for businesses to thrive so that jobs can be created. That's a responsibility of government. However, if people were engaged in illegal activities like artisanal refining, and because government and government agencies have clamped down on them, and that is no longer an option for them, let them find work. I'd like to express that in as locally as I possibly can. Let them find work. I'm sure if they move around Port Harcourt to the communities, they will find signs that say sales boys needed. Sales boys needed. Let them work there. There's dignity in labor. Let them operate car washes. Let them go wash cars. There's something to be done. There's always something to be done. If they feel that's beneath them, they can go for some kind of a training that will equip them with some skills, and they can use that skill to start something for themselves or work somewhere else. Lack of work is not an excuse to engage in crime. No, it's not, as a matter of fact. Even though, once again, as I mentioned, government does has a responsibility to ensure the environment, especially the economic environment, is conducive for businesses to thrive, so jobs can be created. He talked about modular refineries. I don't know how people think these things work sometimes. If you want to set up a modular refinery, apply for the license. If you apply for a license and you meet up with the criteria, whatever the criteria is, very likely you will be issued a license. You don't just issue licenses to people because they were doing fire, and now they have stopped fire. So what are they going to do now? Let them do modular refinery. Who is stopping them from doing modular refinery? Let them organize. I don't know how. Get the money. Get whatever other standards requirements there are, and then they'll be given a license to operate a modular refinery. Operating a modular refinery is not the same thing as roasting bole and fish along the road that anybody can venture into. It's serious business. And just because you can operate fire does not mean that all of a sudden you can operate a modular refinery. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. It's like saying just because one woman is, by the way, respect to all the women who make fantastic bole and fish. So that woman is doing fantastic bole and fish along the road by Rumoko roundabout. That means that she can operate a 5-star restaurant in GRA. So let's buy a building over there. Let's equip and furnish it with 5-star furnishing and the best equipment, kitchen equipment money can buy, and let's get her well-trained staff and personnel, and let her run a 5-star restaurant in GRA, like Red Coral at the Dome, like Asia Town. I think it's populist opinion or populist perspective that's been expressed just to be popular as well, and I'm not sure it holds much water. Okay, what else I have? I go for season. I'd like to rant. I've got something on my mind. I definitely have. And I'd like to express some thoughts on it. And I don't mind to express your thoughts on mine. Even if you disagree with my thoughts, that's perfectly fine. All the way till 4 p.m. I came across a story earlier on today, and it was on our news. Yep, the story was on our news, on our bulletin earlier this morning. And it was mixed feelings. One of those news items to come across, and on one hand, you're pleased about that development, it makes you happy. But on the other hand, there's some element to the story that just makes you wonder, and it takes away some of the joy that you felt or that you feel as a result of the news item. Some of the original joy you felt. The Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Simeon Chibuzomadi, has granted pardon to 29 inmates and subsequently released them from the correctional centers. Now, let me stop there for a moment. Now, this story, if you remember with judicial these inmates, the release of persons. Surprisingly, the considered that and this was perpetuated and this been ready. So that is the case of some of these people. So, like I said, but the latter part of it was about the mixed feelings. So, the story is the special release is tagged must get to the Chief of Justice Simeon Chibuzomadi has ordered recently. I think imagine attend to matters that they had no but I've spoken. You find referring. I don't know if it's spreadsheet. This special release is tagged. Now, this is a story from our bulletin in July this year, July 6th. An ongoing organization on legal there is in court to demand the release of these inmates because some have spent more than 10 years without trial arraignment and or DPP advice. When the matter was mentioned, Justice Hariba Dagogo spoke to a member of the Board of States of Legal Care Advocacy Foundation. Jane James explained why her organization took up the matter of those sons at this time. But you get the point. You definitely immediately about 100 inmates. The Rivers State government went to challenge that, by the way. So the point is this: people are being held illegally in our correctional centers. They are being held and the operative term here, the very important, the Rivers State Chief Judge, Rivers Chief Justice blames Nigeria for prison conduct of Chinese over report that Rivers correctional centers have high number of and officers and accuse them of not carrying out proper investigations before charging, in that the Chief Judge of Rivers State has carried out some jail delivery sessions. He did that last month as well. He just did that reportedly also. So yeah, some good work has been done. People are being released. And that's a great Christmas gift to the inmates. How is it a Christmas gift? How is depriving the person of their freedom illegally, how does giving the person, how can that be a show of magnanimity? This person had their freedom, their liberty taken away from them illegally. It's essentially proven guilty. This that they were guilty of an offense and thus sentenced them. Gift. It's not a gift. If anything, an illegality has been carried out, an injustice has been carried out against this person. We live in a sane society. The state should pay and pay humanity. If we live, once again, if the state should pay heavily, I'm talking millions, if not even tens of millions, is what these people should get. But they had their freedoms denied them unjustly, illegally, some of them for over decades of their lives that they can never and will never. So it's not a gift. These people have been incarcerated for long periods because of the failure of state, the failure of the state government, the Ministry of Justice, failure of the federal government and her agencies, the police. A lot of them are perpetual failures, actually. Of the judiciary, it rivers is not doing it appropriately. Federal centre as well. Failure of the institutions of state have deprived freedoms unjustly, illegally, unfair. And now, I should not a Christmas gift, any other kind of. So this is actually illegally, unjustly, unfairly. Just let them go. Give it to them, deprive them. Illegal. The gift is not a show of magnanimity. If anything, the state and the judiciary is liable. Opal should compensate them, and the state should pay heavily for it. I don't know which I'm looking right now. 0700 920 or 081 or 07907. Facebook.com/your So the 0700 number is active. Hard Factor, welcome as well. Go ahead. Hello? Hello, are you there? No? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, go on.
Good evening. From 50, from the Judicial Commission.
All right, I think he's done anyways. Around the conversation via Twitter as well, also on Facebook.com/page. Maybe let's go ahead.
Hello,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Right now, we're still us. Okay, man, John, just right party, but William is a gift. In many cases, have legally up 10 years without their day in court. Great injustices have been done. It's failed and it was them greatly. But that failed. Back to what? The government is like to this person's damage. I don't think Nigeria's vision now. Small situation. Alright, go ahead. Go ahead. I don't know if he was elected for Harvard. I don't know.